Hello, hello. This is going to be a more relaxed stream today. Um, all it is me and CB sitting down with whoever decides to join us. We're going to be talking a little bit about the rulebook for Split 2. Um, on your screen is a copy of the rulebook we used for Split 1. We'll just be going top to bottom, talking about some of the stuff that you guys had on the feedback form, as well as some things that we would like to change. And then as things come up, we can ask whoever's here their thoughts. If it's like a more, I guess, pressing or like league-wide issue, we might send out a couple polls as we do this. We'll see. But for the most part, I feel like the feedback form kind of covered everything. Um, it's not going to be, I mean, it's literally just going to be CB and I talking about it. And then if chat jumps in, we'll be reading those. So,
Yeah, just chilling. Nothing official. No official crazy production today. All right, how do you
we should,
like the name? Oh, we're not starting that crazy.
the name, Rivals League. I like it. Um, so of course, first order of business is the eligibility. I'm just gonna talk about the feedback form. I don't know if you want to throw it up, but on it we had the question about the point system, looking at rank flex, trying to prevent elo sitting within the league, and as well as like the main elo. The majority of you want to keep it at what we had in split one, which is the Emerald 4 average
Bro, you
teams,
skipping
with
down?
the
That's
E1.
crazy. Okay,
What?
nothing. Go ahead. I'm following.
With it,
Tracking.
with an E1 cap, um, which we intend to keep doing. Um,
So
I
same.
mean, 55%. Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to really change that for any of the fringe people. But the way that we kind of implement things, I think is going to be a little different moving forward. We are going to make it like we did in Split 1, where a bulk of ranked games will need to be completed between um, a player being added to an active roster and the beginning of playoffs. This last split, I think, was 15. Um,
For
15
wait for
games,
what?
right?
25, right?
For the 25, whatever it
It was
was.
25, but it was like you didn't have to play them. Like you could have came into the league already with those done. Like because it was just
Yeah,
85 to be eligible for playoffs, so it wasn't like
yeah.
after the split
So
starts you have to play X amount of games, which is what we're going to do for split 2.
yeah, that's what we're going to be changing. Is the playoff required games are not going to be like looking at the ob.gg and seeing you have X amount of games. It's going to be from sign up till playoff states. You'll have um, a certain amount of games played, which we'll talk about. Um, Part of the issue that might stem from that is because Riot, to our knowledge, is no longer resetting ranks. Um, we recognize that if people play games, there's a potential for them to climb. So are we for sure going to be having the cap at U1, but you're able to climb to Diamond 4 throughout the split to make those ranked requirements?
Yeah, so that'll be a change. So you can hit Diamond 4 and still continue to finish out the split and win it
Just
all,
because
maybe.
we we didn't want our rules to create an environment in which you're rewarded for manipulating your rank and not following the rules. So I know it's not the favorite for most people, but I think it's something that is necessary for those that are trying to follow the rules. We don't want to punish people who are playing their games to the best of their ability. Um, Realistically, the skill difference between Emerald 1 and Diamond 4 is pretty negligible. So, um, what else is there to talk about?
I mean, I
Oh,
say we start from the top. I don't know. We're
okay,
about
okay,
to go
okay,
in full circles.
okay. So
Start
we'll
with the
start off
boring
with the
stuff.
eligibility. Yep, we're starting out with the boring stuff. League of Legends accounts. Like last split, it's gonna be your main account is defined as a player's highest ranked account, not necessarily the account that they've had the longest. So if you have a Smurf that's lower level, but Platinum 4 and your Gold 3, that would be considered your main account, not your Gold 3 account.
So we didn't
Which
run into this, I don't think.
I don't think so either.
Like in that scenario, let's say they're Plat 3 account or whatever, highest rank account, that's their main account, but that main account's level 120. We're saying you have to have all the eligibility on one account,
On
and that
one
has to be your
account.
main account.
Yeah.
I don't think we ran into that, but
I see you've highlighted a couple sections here. Any accounts associated with player must not have peaked Diamond 4 is your LP in rank solo duo queue, and any of the splits 2024-2, 2024-3, and season 2025 to be considered for eligibility. It's the same as last split. Are we thinking about changing the wording of this, or?
I don't think so. I think I highlighted it just to
Bring
make sure
attention
we're
to
keeping it at D4. Oh, I think because it was on the sheet, I wasn't sure if it was going to change from D4, and then also
Gotcha.
the splits we look at. But I think we're going to keep that the same. So
Yeah, because there are no differentiating splits in 2025. We're going to continue to go past the last three splits. There was a comment about this. Where was it? Is about going back further or not trying to go like when you're looking for peak ranks, not going back super far. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where that comment was?
I mean, do you want me to scroll down and look? Wait, on the form, the feedback form.
Yeah, on the feedback form there was a.
Oh, something about the not going back to the
Oh
most
yeah,
elo inflated. Something.
move the peak check closer to the current split. So many people in this league peaked like way too far back where their relevant rank is now. So you kind of get to weird points, even though a team's value is 48. You look at the multi, and they're actually like 32. It should go off past seasons, but maybe not the most elo inflated split of all time. It's hard to differentiate like which splits were easier to climb than others. Most people agree that recently it's been easier to climb, especially with no ranked reset. So we're only going to go back the past available three splits, which is split 2, split 3 of 2024, and then 2025. We think that's close enough, because you would only be about a year removed for this Rivals League split 2.
Yeah, and then forced to play on the highest rank account. I mean, the highest. I think so, because basically your highest rank account is your main account. So that's the
Yep.
IGN that will be on the roster. Because I don't know.
Correct.
I mean, if you make an alt account and you are eligible for all the criteria, like level 200 and everything else, then I think it's odd that you would be playing on your other account. But hey,
Yeah.
the other one's just technically now your alt in our
I
eyes.
know some people in the past in different leagues that I've been a part of. An issue that they run into is that their alt account doesn't have uh, the same champions that they have on their main, or not access to all the champions. If that's the case, then look into fast ways to get the champions that you want for your competitive seasons, because you would have to be playing on that account. So ranked flex was something that we asked about as well. The large majority said only look at it if there's a huge discrepancy.
So
right?
I think because I messed with a few things before, like a couple weeks ago, just to see what it looked like. But originally it was 5. So do we want to keep it at 5? I have it as 4 right here, but it's 5 on our rules right now.
Flex rank only if there's a big difference between solo rank. We have it written as 4. It's 5 in the
It's
rulebook right now.
yeah. I had changed it to 4 just to see, but I don't know.
So
It's
5
kind of
would be
close.
100 LP more, right? Or like what
Excuse
I'm
me.
meaning by that is like 5 rank tiers would be the difference between gold 1 and plat 1, right?
No, it's 4, right? 1 to 1 is 4.
Oh yeah, because there's only 4 divisions.
Oh,
So yeah,
not
I think
plat
4 is
2.
fine.
Oh wait, no, it is plat 2. 4 or 5? Yeah, it's
It
the.
it'd be 4. It would be gold 1 to plat 1.
Yeah, I just changed it back to what we have
Unless
right now. That's not something we put in the rule book. I mean, I guess thinking about it, there are a lot of people that have higher flex ranks than normal ranks, right?
mm-hmm.
At what point, like, where's the line as far as like, okay, your flex rank is way higher than your
Too
solo
high.
duo rank. This guy is not trying his best in solo duo. On the other hand, you're playing with a bunch of your friends in flex that could be higher
Yeah, it's
elo. So
different. Um, 4 ranks. I think 4 is good. 4 rank tiers, 1 division. Um, the difference between gold 1 and plat 1.
and then if you're there, I don't think we don't count you as that rank because I think that's too crazy. It's you just go up 1 tier. So like in this scenario, instead of gold 1,
You'd be considered plat 4, plat 3, whatever we have,
plat
whatever the
3, so you'd go up a tier. Yeah, so like
yeah.
in this scenario, you wouldn't be like, wait, I'm actually gold 1. Now I'm counted as plat 1. No, you just be counted as plat 3.
Yeah.
So, at least 4. It's fine. It's a fine way to word it.
Personally, I think 1 division higher flex should be considered to average it. Yeah, it's kind of like meeting in the middle. So in this specific scenario, if you're gold 1 in solo duo, you're plat 1 in ranked flex, you'd be moving to a tier that is plat 3, plat 2.
But I think in what they're saying is, if you're
Oh, for
gold
like
1
all the
solo,
different
if you're
scenarios.
gold 1 solo duo player, then you're probably
Mm-hmm.
a plat 1 flex player. And if you think that way, then we would move it back to 5.
Oh, is that what you're saying? Say solo is gold 1 and flex is E4, average it. Oh,
I mean, that's
no, they're
kind
that's
of
gonna
how it
flip the
is.
difference.
I mean, by
Yeah,
default, that's kind of how it is because like 4 tiers, 4
4
solo.
tiers is basically 2 point value differences, right? Because we
We do
split the
2. We do for the
ranks.
most part. We do 2 in each. It's we're using
Yeah,
the word tier in 2 different scenarios for 2 different meanings. So that's where it's
yeah,
that's where it's getting wonky. But
that's where it's getting weird.
indirectly, that's kind of what we're doing.
The way that we assign point values, it basically takes a division of rank, like Emerald for example, and basically splits it into 2. Um, the only exceptions are Gold 3 and below, and then Emerald 4 and Plat 1. We're considering about the same elo. So the way that we have it written or enforced right now is if your flex rank is exactly 1 full rank ahead of your solo duo rank, you're you're going to go up 1 tier in our system, which is about 2 points.
Solo duo rank. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just yeah. So that's kind of the same thing. I mean,
yeah.
I guess there's a scenario where someone could have like a flex rank that's 8, like crazy different than your solo duo. Um, then is it still 1 tier or is it something different? That's I don't know.
I think they just wouldn't be considered, right?
Yeah,
Like if
you're
they
like
if they were
gold
like
1 and you're like emerald 1 in flex or
masters
like yeah.
masters in flex, but you're plat 4 and solo duo,
Yeah, who are you playing
I don't
with?
think you would be considered.
I don't
That's
think so.
kind
I
of
think so.
yeah.
Chilling.
So we can
Oh,
highlight this.
something we might just thinking through what could happen. So for solo queue, we're using peak rank. Whenever we're comparing it, the 4 tier difference to the flex rank, we're just going off of the current flex rank.
Yeah.
Are you gonna make?
Sorry.
The hell?
I was responding to somebody.
Hang up and hang out, man. All right.
I was on the
Solo duo
stream.
rank. Solo duo rank.
Yes. Correct.
2024 split 2 through current.
Mm-hmm.
When we're comparing it to the 4-tier difference of their flex rank, we're just comparing it to their current flex rank.
Their current flex rank.
Okay. I don't have to go through and also vet every single player's flex rank over the last year.
No, it would just be current. If a player's current ranked flex rank of their current. Yeah, that's a good differentiating thing.
You want to put that in 1131 also? I don't know. There's too many words going on.
Current ranked flex, yeah.
But player's current ranked flex rank does exceed. Did you change this already? Should it say exceed 3 tiers?
You changed it to 4.
I changed it to 4 right here, but I think the wording here, since I'm saying exceed, should say 3, right? Which is 4.
Is it meets or exceeds?
Nope. Does exceed 3 ranked tiers. Both. Yeah, I think that's right. What the?
For this, I mean, if you're gonna use the word 4, you gotta use the word 3. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Okay, so this one can be.
Should we like do this since it's under this one? It's like if this, then this. Or do you just want me to move it back?
I sure don't want you to do whatever you just did. Okay, getting there.
Many accounts must have played a minimum of 200, which is that
I
the
think
same as what we have
I
now?
changed
Or
it.
did you add
It was 160. It was 160 for split
160.
1. So 160
And
between
then,
basically the last year. I changed it to 200.
So the reason why we had talked, CB and I had talked about this. So in order to be eligible for playoffs, this split you had to play 185 ranked solo duo games. So we're bumping it up to an even 200, which means between the end of this split and the start of next split, which is about 3 weeks, we expect 15 more solo games to be played.
That's if you were at the bar, which most people were like over the last full calendar year. Most people already have that.
Yeah,
so it's just those people that randomly, I stopped playing League for 2 splits coincidentally. And
yeah, I totally don't. I don't fall into that category at all.
And then I changed it to 100 also, which I think is what we said. So we had 160 for the like total all the splits, and then we have 60 for this split for split 1.
So
and then it was 85 for playoff split 1, and now we're saying 100.
What was the eligibility for like the initial starting games? You said 160?
Yeah.
I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna pull up the result.
It was 160,
I have it.
60, 85.
Do we want to make the difference between the games the same or no?
The distance between the games.
So we added
25. Do you want
to
do
25
again?
Minimum. Well, no. So 1.1.4 on our current rule book, you had to play a minimum of 180 total, and 60 had to be. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. So have it be half, or do you want to make it so it's only a difference of 60? Probably half. All right, half of them need to be played this season.
I don't know all the words you just said, but whatever I wrote looks good to me.
Yeah, this is fun.
Which again, I think most people like from this split already have that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 100 games, and we're starting in mid-July-ish.
So this is the one where I was thinking, with what we were talking about, do we even need this rule? Oh my gosh, do we even need this rule? because we're gonna put it in the. We're gonna bake it into the points. See what I'm saying?
Oh, the whole chart, or just that?
Well, like, so the reason we put this rule in originally, if I remember correctly, is we're trying to prevent rank manipulation in Smurf accounts. So like, the reason why I had this chart is if you don't meet these win rates, your points would be adjusted.
Mm-hmm.
But aren't we moving it to where if you're between 55% and 60, you're just getting bumped one tier?
Yeah, but it would just be an update of this chart, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we just need to change this.
Need to change the current, but it wouldn't be. Are we doing it based on games, or does games even matter? Because you're eligible based on games, so.
Yeah, you
So
have to hit those games anyways, so it just be based off win rate.
So the left side can just be up,
Well, I'm just
increase
saying,
one
I think we
tier,
could.
and then the other one is not eligible or whatever. Or do you just want to put it
Yeah.
into a paragraph?
Well, so we have it under like the team eligibility. The whole. Do we want to move this up? That's what I'm asking. Like,
I
do we want to
wasn't.
make
Yeah,
it
we
to
weren't
the?
looking at the same thing, but yeah.
So these two are combined, or the two charts?
I don't know about all that.
Do you see what I'm saying?
You're saying a bunch of words.
I
I
am.
hear your
I'm saying a
words.
bunch
I
of
hear what
words.
you're saying. I don't know what that looks like.
All right, let's change this to where it says the win rate, and then the tier adjustment. We got to change the language in here.
Yeah. All right, I'll do the chart. You do the. You're the
Rank
word person.
manipulation and the presence of Smurf accounts. The following point adjustments will be made to players'
55.
point value based on their current.
Crazy.
Right?
I'm not reading that paragraph.
No. So for while CB's adjusting this, we're just gonna be transparent in how we adjust people's ranks or point values. Before we were just doing it as people were signing up, we were telling them what their point value would be. This is just to show kind of how we kind of decided how the win rate would adjust players' points. We think that anything under than a 55% win rate means you're about where your true skill is, meaning you're winning just as many games as you're losing. So anything at around 50% or lower is basically what Riot is saying is like your true skill. We think between 55% and 60% win rate means you're actively climbing at a healthy rate. So in an effort to prevent some stacked teams signing up, not even stacked teams, but just we ran into the issue where we gave people points and then they joined the league and climbed up multiple divisions, which is fine. That's the way it was supposed to be intended. But we want to prevent the issue of like having a Emerald 3 or 2 average team in an Emerald 4 average league, if that makes sense. So between 55% and 60%, we expect you by the end of the season, if you were to continue to play ranked, to be up one tier, which is why your tier would be adjusted one tier. And then anything higher than 60% means you're climbing rapidly. And if you have 200 games play or 100 games played of solo duo in 2025 and your win rate is above 60%, it's pretty clear that you're not close to your peak. So we're
So, I have a question
we're
about it. As
we're
always,
erring on this we're erring on the side of caution, saying we can't really um accurately give you a point value. Does that make sense?
does that? Because I think I kind of talked you out of it or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
so let's say you sign up, like you have the games, everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
You have your 100 games, 59.9% win rate, and you're I don't know E4.
Mm-hmm.
We're saying even with a 59.9% win rate, we're only going to count them as, I guess, E2. I guess we're technically saying two ranks. I guess my question is, if you're E4 90 LP with a 59% win rate, we're
Counting
saying
him as
Emerald 2.
E2.
Hmm?
Mm-hmm.
We're saying E2
Yeah,
is good. We're saying we're not saying.
unless you want to do two tiers. I just think those are the fringe things, which is why I had it the way I did,
Mm,
where I split it between 55 and 57, and then 57 and 60.
true. Yeah, I think looking at it on paper, but so I don't. Now I could be swayed either way. I could be swayed in the well, 58 to 60 should be
All
two
right,
tiers, but
let's ask our chat here.
there's
So
somebody that
chat,
we're confusing ourselves, so I'm sure they're confused. But
no, I'm gonna say that I'm gonna make it clear. So chat, if you're confused, basically what this rule is in place of is to basically say like if your win rate is above 55%, we expect you to climb within the required games between sign up and playoffs if you were to play them to the best of your ability. So in an effort to cut down on teams that could potentially be higher than the league average, we would um, adjust their tier to what we expect them to land on. Anything less than 55%, you're basically winning and losing at the same rate. Anything more between 55 and 60, you're climbing steadily, but you're not exponentially climbing. Anything more than 60 with 100 games played means you're not close to your true rank, which is why we want this rule in place. Um, the question CB is saying if we have a player that is Emerald 4, but they're a 59% win rate, which is right on the cusp of 60, the case could be made that they should be more than one tier adjusted, that they should be two. Um, the reason why we just wanted to make it between 55 and 60 is it's clean cut. Like, it's a clean, range of win percentage that we can look at. There's an argument to be made that you could cut it in half and have two two tier adjustments if you're above like 57.5% win rate. Um, so my
my
question to you, chat,
oh,
is like, what would you guys prefer? Because on the one hand, I think the rule makes sense, and like we're trying to prevent um, some overloaded teams from joining who haven't really reached their ranked potential. On the other hand, though, it seems like we're punishing players for um, maybe not playing as many games as others,
my
or we're basically
concern.
saying they're guilty before they're before they even reach the rank. You know,
I
because
mean, we're
I would
not saying they're
hate.
guilty. We're saying they're good.
Well, no, but I would hate. So, like, say you're the Emerald 4 player, you have exactly 100 games played, you've won 60, and you've lost 40. Then you play the required games, and you end up plat 2. Like, but you're two tiers higher than where you would have been. That's what I'm saying. So I think there's a case to be made for both sides.
I mean, I think this
I feel
might
like our chat
fall
is
in
very
later. If we keep it at 1, because there was the vote of whether or not players' points should lock, like hard lock.
Mm-hmm.
If we do some sort of
Which
soft
everyone was
lock,
more in favor of.
yeah, I mean it's pretty split, but yeah, 8 to 10. Could always do just 1 tier adjusted, and then whenever we, that would feel bad. Say whenever we get to playoffs and they have all the ranked games done, if they're still
And
super
change their
high,
tier.
they didn't change
That'd
it,
be
but
crazy.
it's like, all right, we're ready to
Yeah, you
win
can make a
playoffs.
team ineligible. Yeah.
Yeah. I see both.
I'm more in favor of this. This is what I had originally.
Yeah.
And then we had changed it. By the way, if you guys aren't subscribed, ads are going to run. We're not going to take ad breaks. So if you want to be part of the conversation,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know, sub, I guess.
I don't know. I like both. I mean,
you won't be
it's
missing much. I'm more in favor of making this number 57.5. Because it's right between the two.
I mean, if we're going back and forth on whether or not we're gonna make 1 tier adjustment, like potentially 60, then it can't feel too bad if we're making it 58. But I mean, you can do 57.5, and then you're gonna make a bunch of league players do math. They're gonna run out of fingers and toes. It's just gonna get a whole mess.
Doesn't it just show up on their op.gg?
Not the decimal, I don't think. Maybe
They
if you
just give
hover
you
over
a
it.
round number.
I'm pretty sure it
Look.
rounds.
Let me pull somebody up.
Now, granted, no one's gonna probably say it, so I would have to do it. And so I guess I'm saying that for standpoint of I'll calculate it out if I have to. But
Yeah.
why not
No,
just make it
just
clean?
do the even. Just do the even. Just make it easier on ourselves. I think this is fine. It's tough.
Now my concern is if you're gold, let's just say gold 1, and you're 4 points, and you have a 58% win rate. Now you're not gold 1, you're emerald 4 now.
No, you'd be plat 3. Oh
You'd
no,
be 2
gold
tiers.
1 right here. Yeah.
So you're gonna jump from gold 2 to emerald 4.
Yeah, that'd be tough.
So it
Maybe it's
feels
just one then.
tough for the bottom ones, the lower people.
Or do you just want to cleanly make it your 1 tier?
I mean, we can make it 1 tier and just put the cap at 58 or 59. Kind of meet in the middle with it. I mean, realistically, you have 100 games and your win rate's
59.
over like that high. It's tough to say confidently that you're only 1 tier up. So
I mean, maybe
I
we
like
have to
that,
take a look at like our actual chart down here then, for the lower ranks.
I mean, we ain't there yet. We're readjusting the points.
I know, but what I'm saying is like, maybe the easy
people.
fix is to adjust this.
No, like move like gold 2 down or like whatever.
Yeah.
We can always add more tiers. But
Yeah.
the reason we didn't do that the first time because it's like, okay, if you're plat 1, what's the skill difference between plat 1 and E4? It's like nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I mean, we could change the point values too for the lower ranks.
Yeah. Well, we might do that here in a second. I don't know.
Keep this one highlighted so we can come back to it.
Okay. Do you want to leave this as a placeholder now? I'm kind of in favor of just having +1 tier, but changing it to 58 or 59.
It depends on what we're gonna do down with the eligibility. If we're gonna keep the tiers the way we have, the point values we are, then you're moving stuff around. That's okay. We'll fix it. Then I'm more in favor of the one you just did. 9.99. just to cover
What
our
the?
bases.
No, you would do 58.99.
Or I didn't know you were gonna change it to 60. I think 60's. I think anything lower than 60 is fine. What's the difference? What's 1% difference between 59 and 60?
It's 1%. I think it's kind of a lot, to be honest.
You think so?
You're confusing me on what you're doing. Don't type what I'm typing.
Well, I thought you were gonna keep it at 60, which is why I was gonna do 59.99, because I didn't want some dumbass to say I'm technically a 59.5% win rate player. You know what I'm saying? Or
I mean,
just
yeah.
have somebody else
And
do it for
they would
them.
have a valid argument.
Yeah.
So
So, but yeah, 58.99 if you're gonna
that doesn't
change it
change.
to 59%.
Oh, you're saying once it actually hits 59, then you're eligible.
There's, yeah.
So be great. Okay, whatever. Sounds good enough. Think we've
What?
What?
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
Cool. Made that about as confusing as we could have.
Yeah, true. We could delete this, correct?
It's just redundant,
Whoa.
right? Since we incorporated
Why
that.
is it doing that?
Do we need 1151? Since we're kind of saying we're
We're
already
not gonna
adjusting them.
do. Yeah, not gonna do the additional. Discord accounts. I feel like we should put this in the eligibility section, but
Yeah, true. And 114. And all of them. I mean, the whole thing.
yeah,
It's
pretty
kind
much.
of
Like, I think we need to change where we place some of this stuff. I think because this is like just League of Legends accounts, but then we're actually gonna do like player eligibility and then team eligibility. I think that's what kind of where
you want to
screwed
do.
us up.
You can do formatting on our own time, no, or later.
Yeah.
Just because
Yeah.
we're gonna be moving probably a lot of stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
highlight. Are you? What's going on here?
Doing what?
Where your cursor is? Do you want to highlight that? Come back to it. Oh,
Oh,
never mind. Sorry. Never mind. Tripping.
I think I just clicked there. Discord accounts. I think there's not really much to say. I think it's a pretty decent rule. If you're gonna Smurf, typically you make a new account, so you have to be at least 1 year old. Less than 3 might be a little suspicious, so we might ask you for some further verification.
Okay, the fun stuff. That's my favorite
Just
part.
gonna change the language thing right here.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Team eligibility.
Somewhere in here will be where we have to add. Oh wait, no, 134.
Do we want to talk about how many teams we're thinking for team eligibility? Do you think those kind of go hand in hand?
How many teams in the league?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can pull up the feedback. I don't even know. It was pretty split, I think.
It was definitely in favor of
Oh,
more
it wasn't
teams.
on the. It wasn't even on this one. It was on the MVP voting, and I don't want to.
You don't want to pull that
I
one
don't
up?
want to slip up in the.
Yeah,
show.
I'll pull it up and just talk about the.
I could probably snip it, but.
Nah, I'll just talk about it.
I mean, they might want to see.
Where are we at?
Dun, dun.
Responses.
Yeah.
Okay. It was kind of a scheduled preference, but it was also kind of an intake about how many teams most people would want. A lot of people were in favor of. Well, we didn't give the 6-team option, but the majority are looking between
Well, we
8
did
and
on
10
here,
teams.
kind of, but yeah.
So there's definitely going to be more teams in Rivals League Split 2.
How many is the question? And I don't think we have to hard decide the cap. I mean, we
Now?
can.
No.
I mean, as far as like putting it out,
You mean
because
the
we could
threshold?
just. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be between 8 and 12. That's so it will be 8
It's
or 10
definitely
or 12.
between 8 and 12.
8 or 10 or 12. But how
Most
much
likely
might
between
just
8 and 10.
is that? I want to pull it up. I don't think it's gonna pop up on the
12
screen.
was a little let's say there's 12 teams. Will there be 2 groups? Probably. To keep the regular season manageable with cross division playoffs.
I think we said no matter what, maybe, depending.
Even with 8 teams, yeah.
I'm gonna hide this for a second because
You're good.
I don't want it to pop up. So I didn't think it would pop up in that window, but
Just to cover your bases.
okay.
Regardless, there is gonna be more teams. Not everybody valued their games being streamed because they aren't live streamed. In a world where we could live stream every game, I think that'd be very big, like a very big positive. That's just not possible between production and people playing their games. Um, the reason why the games are played on Sunday is the majority of amateur leagues within Emerald 4 Elo or Emerald 4 average Elo, the major leagues don't have, or the other leagues don't have games being played that day. Um, so it's going to be one stream per week and then additional content outside of that. The reason I wanted to bring this up is you have the point threshold, the floor highlighted. We want Rivals League to be competitive. We think it makes it a more entertaining league. I really enjoyed the fact that our last week we had 5 teams playoff eligible with only 1 eliminated. We want it to be those, small razor thin margins for success in the league. We don't want it to be top heavy or um, we don't want it to be uh,
We want it to be competitive all the way through.
non-competitive. Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
we don't want to just be like, okay, we're gonna open it up, and if we get 8 teams, cool. If we get 28 teams, cool. We're gonna run it either way. So that's why we want to keep it
So
within specific numbers. But
the reason you have it highlighted is in the original rulebook, our Spot 1 rulebook we're currently using, we had it so that the teams had to have had a 25-point minimum.
yeah,
After watching the league, though,
probably should be 40, but or 35 feels fine, in my opinion.
25 would be way too low, though.
25 is too low. I mean, we were kind of spitballing, but
Yeah, but we have some data to go off of now. So we're gonna bump it up to 35. So teams have to be between 35 and 50 points to join. I like it.
yeah. How many touched on? I mean, we didn't even decide. I guess we didn't decide, right? The teams, how many teams we're gonna have? We just said between 8 to
There's
12.
just
We're
gonna
gonna
be
have to look
more.
at that because it's split,
There's a significant
but it's
difference.
also trying to measure 2 things on 1 vote because it's the amount of teams
Yeah.
and also the start date. So, I mean, I don't know if you looking at the results. What do you think?
It's
Just
between 8
off
and
rip.
10. I think 10's probably the better. I think 10 would offer the variance the teams want, and I think it would be manageable for a good end date before Labor Day weekend.
Yeah. Then the question will
But
be the amount of regular season games.
I mean that'll be later on. I was
Yeah.
just bringing it up for the team eligibility. The reason why we're raising the floor is with more teams, there would be an argument for CB and I to have to see like, okay, we want to hit X amount of teams. Let's lower the floor so that we can
Mm.
be sure to get those teams. We don't want to do that. We're actually going to raise it, so that way, with the expansion of the league from 6 to 8 or 10 or 12, we still want it to be as competitive as it was with the 6.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? There might be a bunch of ineligible teams, and if we have to, I mean, we cut who we have to cut. I mean, this time we chose 6 teams out of like it was 10 or 11
Like
or something.
8 to 10. Yeah.
Yeah, that applied. So I mean, we did it the first split. We'll do it the second split, and that's something we probably need to. I don't know if we need to talk about it or like I don't even think you and I have really talked about it. How we are going to decide who gets in, and
Well,
maybe that's a
we
behind
talked a
closed
little bit
doors
about it.
conversation.
Well, no, I think we could be transparent about it. We talked about having the signups go up before playoffs start so that interested teams can kind of see our production value, what the league offers, et cetera, et cetera. Um, because we were a new league, we kind of just said first come, first serve. We don't want to operate like that in the future. We will definitely put higher priority on the first teams that sign up, but we want to build a pool of applicants and then kind of, I don't want to say pick and choose, but basically pick teams based off of the competitiveness, right? Like if you're a higher point team or a team that is, I don't want to say more established, but basically a team that
Proven.
has a historical precedent of, fielding competitive teams. We want to include those in Rivals League.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna be. I think it'll be a good mix of a bunch of
Yeah.
things, and so, I mean, maybe when you sign up will be a portion of it. We're obviously not going. I think the tentative plan is potentially posting the signups like opening on Sunday, maybe potentially.
Uh-huh.
But we wouldn't vet or look at any like as far as locking anybody into the league or anything like that until after playoffs. Because
Yeah.
I think
We're gonna let the pool
split
build up.
one is still
Yeah.
our priority, right?
Yeah.
So no one will really know if they're locked in or not. I know teams will want to know because if they didn't make the cut, then they're gonna want to do something else or adjust their roster. So we'll have to play with that on how we're gonna do it. We are almost to that point, that
I think we
conversation.
can highlight this though, right?
Yeah.
So the question, would player points hard lock once playoffs start? So I think that's in regards to what's next highlighted, the soft lock. Are we considering it a hard lock unless a player engages in ranked manipulation methods because they have the ability to climb to D4?
So like basically taking out, well, not taking out, but pretty much doing like we did split one.
Pretty much doing like we did split one.
Yeah. So you can climb. If there's anything crazy, then we'll look into it. If there's any like obviously avoiding ranking up, we'll look into it. But like if you
It's
sign
gonna
up
be
in
like
your
the
if you sign up in your E2, you can climb up to D4 and still be eligible and still play in playoffs. If you're plat 4 when you sign up and you climb up to D4, you're probably not going to be eligible. So there'll probably be some issues there because that's a little suspicious. But yeah, you'll still
it's
be
gonna
able
be
to
the
climb.
French
So there's not
cases.
really a. We're basically doing a hard lock essentially, which is.
Now if the question is further um saying like would player points hard lock, we would still cap it at D499 LP. So if you're in playoffs, say you win your semifinals match, then a player climbs to D3, they would be
Yeah,
ineligible.
yeah. So it's a hard lock unless you basically cheat,
Break the
manipulate your
cap.
rank, or completely rank out.
Yeah.
So you're chilling. If you're plat 3 when you sign up and you rank up to emerald 3, you're fine. You don't get readjusted, I guess. Well, maybe that's a too crazy of an example, but you get it.
Yeah.
You won't get readjusted. You'll probably get in trouble.
I think we can get
Something
rid
like
of the
that.
tier, right? We were talking about how this doesn't really help us at all.
Well, then we have to go back up and change some stuff because we referenced tier.
But yeah,
So I think that's why we left it.
okay, we could do that in the future when we make it look better and have more logical. Because I really do think we would have to move down.
My green screen fell down.
I think, anyways, we'll talk
Be right
about it
back.
later. Oh, your
Yeah.
green screen fell down.
My dog, my dog messed with it. I thought I was about to get kidnapped. Hold on. Go ahead. I don't know. Did we talk about 1-3-2-1 and 1-3-3? Do we need to
There's a question real
re-clarify that
quick.
given all the situation?
Reclarify what? Which
One,
specific ones?
just 1-3-3.
Players that are found to be and ranked manipulation methods. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I think, as always, people that don't agree with it are going to raise an issue. We only had one incident where we felt like we needed to change the player's points. I think the combination of changing the tier based off of win rate, as well as allowing players to climb, there should be no incentive to manipulate your rank, unless it's to maintain eligibility for a league outside of Rivals League. But it's pretty self-explanatory where if you're controlling solo queue and in the attempt to lose and change your elo, we'll have to look into it. I think the way that we kind of handled it, where it's really only in the cases where your points would be higher than what you're currently like valued as, which we did with in the case of Tyler Durden. He was listed as a 10-point player, climbed it to be a 14-point player, and then on the cusp of ranking out, engage in rank manipulation, which is why we needed to change his points. So I think that's fine. I think we can just keep it. It is it's like the eye test. It's a subjective ruling. CB and I are gonna try to be fair. We let RAR know ahead of time, and as much as they wanted to plead their case, it was pretty clear cut and dry of what happened. So don't think that we're just gonna randomly enforce the rules. Like, we'll definitely be in communication with you. Our intent is just not to screw over teams. So there is a question. I've heard of other leagues eliminated rank out once playoff starts. What do you think is better about maintaining rank outs in playoffs? Like leagues like Blue Water and others, I'm aware that you can climb when playoff starts. I've never been a big fan of that. I can't speak for CB, but it always felt weird to watch a Platinum 1 capped or like E4 capped league and there's a Diamond 3 player in playoffs. Doesn't sit right with me. So the rules that we discussed are trying to eliminate that. And at some point, it's just considered punching down like below your skill level. And so
No one would do that.
I don't think we'll allow that.
All right, I would like to, get through this rulebook tonight. So if we could,
Yeah.
talk about this like it's
we're
you
at
and I talking to each other.
Okay. I'm just gonna change this to player points and tiers lock, and then we can unhighlight it, right? Oh, we can get rid of this part.
Did we put something somewhere that you can climb already? Yeah, we did. Wait, no, we didn't. That you can climb to D4.
Yeah, we'll put it in here. Is that what you're saying?
I think so. I don't think we don't need this anymore. What are you cooking up?
I'm just covering our butts.
This will not decrease through the split. Correct. Players are able to climb diamond 4. Correct. Sounds good.
I'm just throwing it in there because I didn't want somebody to say like, well, the rules say, you know.
They wouldn't do that.
Nah, no, never. Playoff eligibility, 125 games completed, which means you'd have to play 25 games between.
No, we need to clarify it. That it's, you have to. I think the 125 is, we take that out. It's
It's
you have to
25
play
games from.
or 20, whatever. I don't, maybe 25. I think 25 may be too high, but once, basically between league kickoff and playoffs kickoff, you have to play 25 games or 20 games or 15, whatever we just said. Because just saying it's 1 in 25, people already have, like, a lot of people already have that.
I see what you're saying. Are we saying 20 or 25?
I think
What was
25 is too
the-
much. 25 is too much.
What was
The example was 20, but
amount that we had
that was just the example. Oh, like last split? 25.
for last split?
Last split was 25, but we didn't make it required during, like, the split. So people joined with 100 games already, and they didn't have to play
Okay
anything.
with
25 is too high. It needs to be like 15 or 20, because
we're just trying
we're
to think of
doing
an average.
we're doing a condensed split for split 2, just to avoid Labor Day. So it's only gonna be like 4 or 5 weeks for the regular season.
We'll do 15.
So let's say even on the high side of 5 weeks.
Maybe 3 games a week. If we do 15.
Yeah, 15. Because I ain't trying to make nobody play. 5 games a week is crazy. I mean, it's not crazy if you actually play League, but there will be those people that
Don't like solo queue. Yeah. Players will be required to complete 15 games of ranked solo queue between acceptance into the league.
I'd say, you want to do acceptance in the league or league kickoff? I think league kickoff.
I think acceptance, probably, right? There's a case for both.
I don't think acceptance, because that tells me, like, if I accept a team into the league, 2 weeks before the league starts, and then I accept a team into the league 1 week before the league starts, there's just like that discrepancy.
Yeah.
It's not the same. It's not consistent. So
between the.
I mean, you could put the specific date if you want, but we don't know that yet. I mean, you can do specific date for both, I guess. We would know.
Are we gonna make it so that they can be eligible even if they miss the first week, or is it a hard cutoff? Like, if you don't have it, you can't play for playoffs.
Ooh.
Even if you make it up.
I think you can make it up. which I don't think anybody would actually do that. But so basically, if you're on the team, you haven't played 15 games over the last 5 weeks, you're not eligible for
Not gonna play
quarterfinals.
15 in 1 week.
Like,
you
I mean, let's
you
say you
think?
have 10. It's like, okay, you're not eligible for
Until you get the five
quarterfinals or
more.
whatever. But if you get those 5 games in, then you could play in semifinals. Yeah.
Okay.
Which, mm, mm, uh, mm, I see both. I see both ways because it's like, okay, so you're rewarding somebody
For getting the
for
games in
taking
late.
longer
Yeah.
to do their games, but on the other side, you're punishing somebody because they were out of town that last week, didn't play in the playoff game. I don't know. I see both ways.
I think it should be hard. Hard cutoff.
Okay, we can do it.
Uh, if they can't, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm in agreement.
I agree. I mean, from a lot of
Do
people's
agree.
standpoint, it's like you can make that number a lot higher. It's just there are people that don't like they have a ton of games and they just don't play that much. So I agree. 15 isn't that much, but it's more than zero. It's more than we technically kind of require this split. Mm-mm-mm.
X games per week. Yeah, I mean, this is basically saying you need to play 3 games a week. We're giving the people the option, the agency, to choose when they play those games. If we had the resources or tools available to check the players are playing their required games each week, um, that might be something we could look into. We just don't have that right now. Right now, it would mean CB has to check
Yeah, every
between
week.
50 and 70 players every week, which
It's just
uh,
doable, and then obviously you have the option of like, well, you put it on their opponent to check and like call them out, and
then a
I
lot of
don't
times they
know.
don't, and then they get upset because
They see
a
it after the
team
fact.
wasn't. Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. So
I don't hate it. I just know there are a good amount of people that don't like it. And then like, it's summertime. You might take a 4, 5, 6, 7 day vacation and be gone. I don't know. This is an indirect way of doing something similar, uh, and
yeah, I think
also while
it's
also not requiring me to check
every week.
everybody every week. And now I only have to check everybody essentially twice at start and then playoff start. So
Yeah, and we hear the argument that it should be a player-specific rule, but if we wrote that in and then it came to light that a team played and was ineligible, we would be the bad guys for letting that team play, even though it would be a player's like
yeah,
rule,
and since we
player
don't
enforced rule.
allow handshakes when it
Handshakes.
comes to penalties,
Mm-hmm.
um, then it's essentially the same thing as me checking. Because
Yeah.
like if you miss it, but you weren't supposed to handshake, and then you lost, like, oh, we're supposed to enforce it. We got to replay. Y'all know how some league
Okay.
players are. So
I am going to unhighlight this. If you're looking at what CB was editing, we're capping the rosters at 8-man rosters.
for floor
I
and ceiling, so we're requiring.
floor and ceiling. So we're requiring 8-man rosters to be eligible for Rivals League as a team. I don't want to say the reason we're doing this because we haven't run into the issue of why having 10-man rosters might be bad. We'll have to see if it comes up. Um, but
I think it's somewhat obvious, but yeah.
oh, do we want to talk about it?
I
I
mean,
just want to give anybody ideas
I
if they
just feel
haven't
like it
thought
would be
about it.
weird. I feel like it would be weird to even do it, but either way, every team except for this last week where like some games didn't really matter. Like the first 4 weeks, nobody used more than 2 subs,
One,
maybe 3.
1 or 2.
Like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
1 or 2 at a time. But over the first like 4 weeks of games that for sure mattered,
Oh yeah.
only up to 3 different subs were used. And so, since we are doing a condensed split, um, it's just kind of an unnecessary amount of people, and also it makes it difficult for teams, like more difficult for teams to scout, which is like just
Keep
unnecessary work.
the roster.
So I don't know why you need 10 subs on your team realistically. So
Yeah.
8 feels good. Obviously, if you are super confident that your starting 5 is always going to be there at every single game, um, you can put 3 random players from your like flex game on your team. I'm not going to know that you don't actually know them, but that's the risk if you want to run it.
Do you want to have a check in there saying that their Discord needs to be added to their Discord accounts needs
The
to
reason
be
I
in
don't,
the
2 reasons I think I don't like
server?
that. One, some teams actually use their chat, like their team chat, to talk and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of the time, subs are like not really a part of the team, like
Mm-hmm.
weekly discussions and whatnot. They're just kind of like random last minute calls. And so it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of annoying probably for them to be in the Discord is one.
I mean, they can just make it so it's muted unless they get
I
added.
mean, it can, but I don't know.
I don't know.
It's it. I don't see a large benefit. I
Okay.
mean, I guess other than like, oh hey, we're using our sub. Can you give them the roles, even though I know you're like producing or casting or whatever. So there's
Mm-hmm.
kind of that annoying thing, but um, I don't know.
Okay.
That'll be on the team if you don't get your people in the Discord and you try to do it like the last second. I might not be looking at my screen, and then you have to like draft without them on comms or something. So it's kind of on them.
Mm-hmm. Got another ad coming up just to let you guys know.
Chilling.
Are we good here for the roster
I think
changes?
that's good. Clear enough. Obviously, you can have an active player as a captain or a coach. It's just not an extra spot, so I think that's clear enough. Yeah, because I put active players, so should be good. Uh, 152, I think, is pretty clear.
What seven's new?
Skipping ahead, man.
Um,
What we need to do, we need to. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I did add in that. Roster change teams. Only the team captains can do it. We're still doing the one roster addition per week. Oh, we probably need to add in. Did I put it in there? For name changes, which I hate. You hate, I think.
yeah,
Uh,
just for the purposes of stat tracking.
I mean,
Uh,
I don't know if you can require them to not change their name. I think that's.
there's some leagues that do.
I mean, what are you gonna do if they do?
Did you make it so they can't play? That's what some leagues do.
Or yeah,
Um,
you just have to post a roster change, which you should be doing anyway if they change their name.
yeah,
I think it should
I
be
think
a.
we need to make it so that it is public that somebody has changed their name.
It also helps, me update the stat stuff because if I don't know, then it's like
Then
messes
it's gonna
everything
be
up. So
broken.
I think it should just count as a roster change or a roster addition.
In
The reason
place of the regular roster edition, I think it
like
would
for the
just be an
week,
update.
just an update,
I think
then you just
I
said you
think
don't
that's
even
kind of
want them to be able to do it, and now you're okay with it
yeah,
all.
because I think it's stupid.
I mean, I think it's stupid too, but the tough part, like in reality, a lot of teams, a lot of players that are not captain just run wild and do whatever they want. Like most players that are not captains don't even read the rule book. Half the
Yeah,
captains don't even read the rule book. Um,
which is why
obviously there for like a fail safe,
I don't
but
think you should make it so that it's their. I think it needs to be reported, and if it's not, they lose bans. I don't think it should take place of their potential weekly edition, their 1 week edition. Does that
okay,
make sense?
that's fine. Yeah, because I mean, most of the time a player's gonna change their name and then let
And
their
not say
captain know.
anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or not even tell their captain, and their captain's gonna like realize it. So yeah, players are just gonna do it on their own as they like go on a losing streak and change their name or something, and like feel like that
New name, new me.
matters. Yeah, so I don't know. It needs to
Uh,
be added in here somewhere.
I'm just gonna put a note at the bottom here. We can change the language here because we do want to get through most of the book, and then we can tidy it up after. I'm just gonna bold all caps rule about name changes. Sound good?
Yeah,
I'll
sure.
highlight it too, so
Sounds
we
good.
can come back to it. Intended started rosters. Let me see what you have written here. If a sub is used or players play out of order compared to the roster sheet 2 weeks in a row without a roster update from the team captain, penalties will incur. Starting intended rosters this week must be posted in the roster channel by 7 p.m. Central on Saturdays before matches. This must include the 5 intended starters, the 2 first up substitutes.
So I was spitballing here. I'll
Okay.
spitball here as an
I
idea.
think these 2 rules cancel each other out. If we're gonna make them post it weekly,
No, because
then
you post it weekly, and then if back to back weeks, like, oh, I posted my roster, but yeah, my starting Eddie carry last second he's not gonna be there, and we're subbing, and then you do that again. It's like, okay, you did it on purpose.
Mhm.
That's the intent of 171, is to where you can't play the system of 172.
Okay. I'd put this rule first in
Okay,
the order, so
sure,
people
yep,
don't realize. But
concur.
I think I don't know if I like the 2 first up substitutes rule.
Do you like anything
I get why
related
you
to
have it
that?
in there. It's tough though
I mean, since
because
this
there
was
is
before, I think maybe before we changed it to 8. I don't know. So you just like the issue with it, and I haven't really seen people do it. The issue is you put your 5 starters on there every week. That, hey, this is my starting roster, and then you last
you
second
just do
change it
abs. You just do
because
subs.
it's still allowed to change last second. And so then it's like, okay, why am I making, like, why did you make the team post their roster if they keep doing that? Now
You could just
171
cheap
is
change
kind
it.
of a way to combat that. Um, but is 171 strict enough?
Let me ponder on this for a second. I see what you're saying.
So I think we agree there's an issue. The solution is the question.
Yeah, solution.
I mean, realistically, so the intent of like 172 of how I have it written, and arguably it should just be like 6 players. If you have your 5 starters and they're actually planning to play, and Bob's power goes out, now you can reach out to your sub. Now you can argue that, well, you should be able to reach out to any of your subs because other people are going to be busy and whatnot. My argument to that is, why do you have subs on your team that are busy every Sunday? Um, like you have 2 subs on your team that are not home on Sundays. So it's like, well, why are they even on your roster? So it promotes having an actual subs on your team.
Mm.
I want it to feel good for the players that are posting their roster and play with that roster.
Yeah. Let me think about this. In my mind, you post your intended starting roster by role.
Yeah, I agree.
And it has to be done 24 hours prior to game start. So if games are on Sunday at 7 Central, then you have to have it posted in a specific chat, whatever that is, by Saturday 7 Central.
I mean, yeah, the issue with that, which is kind of what we had, is teams doing it over and over again, to where it's like obviously on purpose.
Yeah, it's clear that that's not their intended starting
So I
roster.
mean, 171 like combats that to where if you post your starting roster week 1 and your 80 carry doesn't make it, you sub in a sub 80 carry, and then week 2 the same exact thing happens with the same player, then you would lose bans in game 2, or you would lose
Here's
bans week 2.
here's what I think. I'm in agreement with you. I think the way we can do it can be a little bit more streamlined. So here's what I think. I think you do your starting five, right? Per role. Uh, More on that later. But you do your starting five per role. You post it. The deadline being 24 hours prior to your game. If you get to your game and Joe Schmo, power goes out, storms, whatever, or some medical emergency
Ice storm,
happens,
snowstorm.
uh, you have to use a sub. Like the first time you have to do that, fine. That's why subs are there. In order to combat the repeated use of subs, kind of um, manipulating the game, so to speak, I think
Can't sub in back-to-back weeks.
no,
Ooh.
I wouldn't say that, but I would say after the first
Ooh.
use of a sub, a last minute sub, if you do that again 2 weeks in a row, the second offense results in ban losses. So you kind of got like a
So just to
probationary
clarify,
period.
you repeated exactly what I said. Okay. Sounds
Well,
great.
but I don't want it to be that like
I mean,
because
that's what I have. 171. Yeah.
well, but like so for example, say the first week is Joe Schmo, the second week is Billy Bob, right? Are we doing it so because it's clear like they're replacing one player with another player, or are we just punishing them for using their subs? That's what I'm asking. Because your the rule, the way that what we're trying to crack down is on uh the RAR situation, right? Like just having five players listed and then nobody knows who's gonna play. That's not fun for anybody.
That's a coincidence.
But I don't want it to be where like, okay, Joe's power goes out, so they have to use a sub week 1, but then week 2, Jerry's, you know, cousin's bride's, you know, whatever, gets her arm cut off. He has to take her to the hospital. Like, I think it should just be in clear instances of like, I'm subbing this player for this player because I want this player to play every week. Does that make sense? I just don't want people to know.
I don't know, man. You're saying a bunch of words, but it sounds like you're just confirming. So I think we're just going in a circle. So I think what you're saying, or what I believe you should be saying, is the same person could be emergency subbed out, but it couldn't be the same person emergency subbed out and the same sub emergency subbed
Two
in
weeks in a row.
2 weeks in a row, because that's too many
Yes.
coincidences.
Yeah. That's what I just trying to get it more specific because I don't want teams to feel like they're punished for using their subs. I don't want to put in the rule book. Okay, the first week that you use a sub, you go on a 1 week probation. Like that sounds weird to
I
me
know, but then also it's
because
like with the short split, it's like why are they a sub if they're gonna play back-to-back weeks?
no, I know that's what I'm saying for those specific cases. Basically, what I'm saying is I
We
don't
do
want
have
a
that.
team to feel like they are being punished for using their subs as intended. I do want a team to feel punished if they are manipulating the system.
Yeah, so it's maybe just a clarification of 171.
We just like we have to clean up the language, I guess.
A
I don't know how that
sub,
would be.
it'd be if the same sub is used for the same, if the same sub is subbed in for the same player. That's just a lot of words, but yeah, that's
I
essentially
know.
what it is.
Yeah, generally subs are predetermined because it's going to be a required 8-man roster. It's going to be the same 3 subs. I don't know. We'll come back to it. We'll fix the language. If the same sub is used. Say players play out of order compared to the roster sheet.
Same sub is used. The player. Or
we're gonna have to clarify this here in
yeah,
a second.
it's ugly, yeah.
What I mean by that is if you plan on using a sub for game day, you would know before the day and post them as if you
I
change
don't know if I
sooner than
agree.
nah.
Because like it's game
The
day
reason
and I randomly like my power goes out on game day. It's
yeah.
like we didn't know that I wasn't gonna be able to play. Just like my power went out.
The reason being because they are listed on the roster sheet, if you're preparing for an opponent, it has always been CB and I's assumption that you prepare for all 8 people on the roster, not just the 5. An E-sub is different because it's going to be somebody totally random that you have had no chance to prepare for. Not totally random, obviously, but not somebody listed that you could easily research. We don't want to punish players for having a sub, using a sub as intended because somebody's power went out or whatever.
All right, so do we want to take out
We'll clean up the language.
this part?
I know what we want to accomplish with it. I just don't want to sit down and figure it out right now.
yeah, we need to update it just because we don't want rules to be worded to where only we understand the intention of it.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
Do we want to delete this part? Just leave it to where you just post the 5 starters?
Yeah, 5 starters and intended roles.
Oh, I don't know if I need this part either. The intended starting intended rosters. That's redundant. No, something like that.
Yeah. We're going to clean up the language. Basically, the rule will be clear that we don't want teams to feel like they're being punished for using subs as intended. It's the, active manipulation that we are, trying to avoid. I think we need to hustle it if we want to get done in a timely manner for everybody to look at what we're trying to do.
You ain't got nothing to do tomorrow.
I know, I'm talking about people that want to be here. TVT for side select in the regular season is going to stay.
Yeah, is that in this one?
The draft format is... Correct me if I'm wrong. We're going to change it, right?
Yeah, are we to that part already?
Yeah.
Okay, so 2v2. Well, hold on. What about the... Wait, where did the 2v2 part go? Am I tripping? Oh, we're not even to the 2v2 part. Okay, sorry. Draft format. Yes, I think so.
Majority of you...
I mean, it's close.
It's close. I mean, there was only 18 players that did it. I was a fan of this before. CB was a fan of this before. The reason why we didn't want to do it is we didn't want to feel like no players would sign up, but apparently a lot of people are okay with it. We're going to make it so you have your first 5 bans the first 2 games, and then game 3 you only get the 3 bans. This first split was 5-3 and then 0. The only time you're going to have 0 bans is games 4 and 5 in playoffs.
So basically every 3-game series introducing 10 extra bans.
5 on each side. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I'm surprised that was the winning vote, but obviously it's super close. Could make the argument that this is one more strict than what we have now. This is one less strict than what we have now. Could split it and keep what we have, but I don't know. Why not try something new? And
I think it's more streamlined.
technically, it was
The
a winner.
reason why I was in favor of changing it is in the regular season, it felt weird that there were no bans game 3. And
Yeah,
then,
that was the most important game.
yeah, that was the most important game. Games 4 and 5 of playoffs are a little bit different because at that point there will be so many champions banned away, especially in game 5.
Yeah, this is
That
a master elo, so
yeah,
I think this is
that
probably the most amount that feels
yeah.
reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like it. I mean, this is what I would want to play in. I like people being rewarded for having a big champion. I'm interested in how playoffs banning is gonna go. We really haven't seen anything too crazy, I don't think, where every single ban goes towards one player. But I guess that's on the captain for putting together a team that has decent champion.
I did the math right. Game 5 there'll be 66 total bans,
Oh,
which is about a third of the player or the champion roster.
10. This one should be 6. Game 3, 6 bans.
Oh yeah, I just wrote down 3, but I was thinking 3 on each side.
So 20, 40, 56, 66. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
We can change this to 12 teams maximum. That doesn't mean we're gonna run a 12-team
Yeah,
league.
true.
But
Good.
it will be only up to 212.
Can we unhighlight any of this up here? 1-7. Maybe not the first one.
I want to come back to it. You can.
Yeah. You want to make
unhighlight
the
it.
words look all pretty.
I want to make it clear. Yeah, you're right. 2v playoffs are the same.
Oh, we do have
do
this
we
in here. I was
want-
wondering if I didn't. Members of admins cannot participate in any team. Correct. Righteous and I are the only admins, so I guess we don't need to clarify this in the rules, but just to say it for the people in the back. We're the only 2 admins. We have had we've been lucky to have multiple people, volunteer to cast and whatnot. But casters are not admins. So, yeah, there we are. Okay, there's my disclaimer. Sunday, cool.
How much
Taking
is
this one out, or to clarify, it's because it's gonna be one match.
It'll be 1 match stream
on
per week
Sunday, with the potential
of live streaming other matches that have yet to be played based on reschedules.
Yeah. So like if you end up rescheduling your match from Sunday to, I don't know if we want to pigeonhole ourselves, but Monday or Tuesday, that gives you a chance to be live streamed, if you weren't already going to be live streamed. So let's say we have 10 teams, 5 matches a week. 1 match is live streamed Sunday. If one of the matches gets rescheduled to Monday or Tuesday, we're going to try our best to also live stream that one. So obviously don't have to reschedule, but a minor incentive if you want to ask your opponent if they want to reschedule to Monday or Tuesday. Oh, you didn't change it. Okay.
Change anything? Playoffs will be cross division. So the number 1 seed of Division A will play the number 4 or 6 seed, depending on how many make playoffs. A lot of the rules will be updated based off of how many teams we get. We're thinking in a 10-team league, top 3 from each division would make playoffs. So in that case, it'd be Division A number 1 seed plays Division B number 3 seed, and then the 2 seeds play each other.
Yep.
And then in a 12
Well,
team. What?
with 6 teams, it would be 2 versus 3 and 2 versus 3 with 1 and 1 at a bye.
Oh, yeah.
And then
We'll figure out the format.
yeah, but
Basically, I'm
it's
just
gonna be 6.
telling everybody it's gonna be
Most
cross
likely it'll be
division.
6 teams and it'll be cross division. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We need to make sure we put something in there because I think with a different league I saw this when they did cross division, making sure we have some deciding factor on if the same seed plays each other. It's like in finals.
Like in finals.
Yeah.
Uh,
It
yeah,
could
it'll probably be the
be
tiebreaker
record, match
scenarios.
record. It could be match record, I guess.
It could also be, if we really want to get into the weeds with it, the quality of opponent. If you have a better record against teams that have winning records, in the case that one division is a lot weaker than the other.
That's why I liked if you had everybody. Actually, yeah. So this is why I liked whenever we go into playoffs. I guess that defeats the purpose of cross division, but going into playoffs, you reseed those 6 teams 1 through 6. 1 and 2 gets a bye. And then like
Based off record?
3 and 6 based off the same criteria that we use for the individual divisions. So based on match record
There'd be no head to head
and then
though,
game
because it'd be
record.
cross division. Yeah.
I don't know. Something to look at because that avoids the like 1 seed versus 1 seed.
Yeah.
But either way, I think most likely
Yeah.
it'll be.
You could also, it might be scuffed because you could, I mean, there could be the argument where one division's a lot harder. You have the worst record, but you're probably better than the guys that had the easy division. You know, I don't know. We'll look at it.
Yeah. I do like the one. I think that's also why I like doing it reseeding people 1 to 6 because I do like 1 seed being able to pick their opponent, rewarding the
We
team
could
for
do
being
it
the
the
best.
opposite way, where it was there's the format where you're the top seed of Division A, the other top seed of Division B, and you pick the opponents for the team. Like, so say you're the number 1 seed of Division B. You say I don't want to play this team in playoffs, so you put them in Division A's bracket. If that makes sense. Basically, like trying to give the other divisions like harder matchups.
Yeah, but I think maybe since we have so little, it's pretty close to the same as picking your opponent. But I guess it would be, unless you were like talking about 3rd seed and 4th seed. But yeah, with so little teams, I think similar thing.
I'm going to continue to jump through.
Yep. Well, 2, 2, 3.
While you just write stuff in, we'll go back and make it pretty. I just want to get through the little book before.
Yeah, go ahead.
The 2v2 format will remain the same. I've had a couple of suggestions about how we could improve the format. One is to make the CS score lower, making it an actual viable way to win. Another way would be assigning the 2 champions randomly that every team needs to play. So we get on the stream, we spin a wheel. The 2 champions in the 2v2 are going to be Lulu Skarner. So the teams are free to choose who plays in the 2v2, but they're not free to choose their champion. That way, it kind of eliminates the mundane effect that we see, a ton of the same champions. Another way we could do it is instituting 3 bans for the 2v2. Another way we could do it is instead of making it champion specific, we can make it to where the wheel spins and the team comps have to be 1 ranged, 1 melee, 2 melees, 2 ranged, etc. That's probably something we should put for like a poll.
maybe. I don't know. I don't potentially, yeah. I don't know if I want to poll every single thing. We can decide some stuff, but but then again, yeah, we differ on some things we like. Like I like the champion thing. Like, oh, we're about to watch
Yeah.
Yumi Timo in a showdown, and you have
And
to
let's see what
decide
teams
the
do.
two, yeah, and see
Hmm.
how they play and whatnot. Now, is that exciting enough? Especially if you have like Karma Caitlyn on both sides, like or like Sona Jana on both sides.
I mean,
It's
yeah.
kind of boring,
The more that
but
you're telling me about it, though. So the reason why CB and I instituted TV2 for side select is like it was a form of skill expression to get your favorite side. I thought the more I'm sitting here thinking about it, I thought arbitrarily assigning champions in the 2v2 seemed kind of gimmicky. But at the same time, like if you're a skilled player, you can make that 2v2 work, and it would be very interesting.
I mean, we could do one champ. Kind
Yeah,
of
we can
split the
also make it so that
difference.
one champ has to be played,
Like
one champ,
each team
one
has to
champ you're using.
play, and we roll one champ. That way, even if you do get like a boring champ or something, you can. Well, it'll be interesting to see what teams do. Like, oh, you have Yumi, so everybody has to have a Yumi on their team.
Yumi
But one
Pantheon
team
on both
goes
sides.
like, yeah, one team goes Pantheon, and one team goes, I don't know, Zeri. So
I think if we're gonna do it, we might as well just make it the two. Because the reason why we wanted to do it is to avoid Pantheon in every game. Kind of.
fair, fair. I mean, I like the I like it. It's something different, just to spice it up a little bit. Obviously, the 2v2 is, depending on how you look at it, either it's more just like for fun to get those pre-game jitters out of the way, or it's like super important, especially with implementing more bans in the draft system. Um, I think it might mean more. Also, of course, wasn't a direct correlation, but the top seeded team is also the top seeded 2v2 team. Uh, wasn't a direct correlation down the line, but who knows? It mattered at least in some instances.
Matter to them.
And I mean, some teams momentum also. So
Yeah. Some teams tilt in 2v2, some don't. Expect the only change for the 2v2 being the CS win con and the champion or champion type assigning. I don't think we have to decide on that tonight.
can I change
What do you think?
reschedules to only be Monday or Tuesday, or is that? I mean, I
You
don't think we
should.
had any reschedules anyway.
It should be only Monday and Tuesday. The reason being is I don't want teams. They see the patch notes come out and say we don't want to play until
Well, it wouldn't go
that
across.
patch.
It wouldn't go across either way. I had it like the Wednesday before to the Tuesday after, so I had it avoiding patches anyway. But I think just to make it more consistent,
Yeah, Monday or Tuesday is fine.
schedules must happen either Monday.
That way it gives teams 3 days to technically play with the Sunday default day.
Yeah, and I know for the most part, we can probably, you know, stream if they reschedule to those days. Okay, that's good. I'm leaving 223 highlighted because one of the
We get
votes
it.
was for the 4 weeks, but I think 5 weeks will probably win. We'll see. Who knows? Postseason, 6 teams. Well, if we only have 8 teams, I don't think we will. I think it's going to be 10. But if it's 8 teams, we're only going to do 4 in playoffs. So I'll leave this
Bottom
highlighted.
two get knocked out. Yeah, you can leave
Yeah.
it highlighted.
But I think it'll
We'll
be
change it whenever we have
probably 10-6, if not
the teams
12-6.
signed up.
Do we need to clarify, add a fourth deciding thing here? I don't think we have to, because we understand it, but I get that there was some confusion.
I'm gonna.
And I don't know if there's a clear way.
There is. I'm basically gonna copy and paste from a professional league, but we'll make sure that's clear. It's gonna be the same criteria. It'll just be
Clarified?
quote unquote idiot proof. Yeah.
Highlighted. highlight this just to make sure. It's 5. Actually, reschedule.
I'm gonna highlight this if we want to change it. I don't know what the consensus is. If we do, it's gonna be like 150, right?
Yeah, I mean we can change it now. I think I don't think anybody got above like 120, and so 150 feels like it probably won't ever just by default get hit. But if you want to play for that win con, it's actually
You make it like a
achievable.
concentrated effort. Yeah.
Yeah, I think 2 charts is still fine. If you get one, a lot of the teams ended up hitting the second one, at least. So, and you have more items at that point anyway, so 2's fine.
Orn.
Cool.
We can enable Orn as a random champ if we're gonna do the random champs.
Because both teams would have it. Yeah.
Because both teams would have it. I'm gonna highlight it just in case we don't decide to do the TV or the random champs, but
okay.
If we do, we could delete it.
Cool.
Lobbies are fine. E-subs are fine. Substitutions, it'll say go look at this. So we're gonna clean that up. Spectators is fine because only one match is for sure streamed by Rivals League. Teams are gonna be able to stream their own games.
What part are you on?
I'm just
you already
scrolling through.
One team.
Yeah.
Once teams are in game lobby, teams must line up in positional order that they intend to play on.
Yeah.
I think it should
be the ones they
It's not based on the roster sheet because
they submit.
True,
as part of their
as
weekly submission.
Team intends to play in position. So what happens if a team so what happens? Okay, you report in the roster chat your intended starting lineup. I guess that would also fall under. I think we put it actually. I talked myself out of finishing my sentence. Disregard. So what is this? Roster sheet. Must
we get rid of this
their intention. Yeah, because that's already covered under the roster.
You have to be in the order you listed in your submission.
Even if okay, you go into game 2 or 3. That's where it might get tricky.
I think so.
Can you swap role between game 2 and 3? So. I don't know why you would do that. But I mean, there's nothing in the rules that says you. Well, 3-2-1 kind of says it. You have to line up as you report it.
Yeah, I think you just keep it as is.
But then. Okay. Yep.
We just delete this one, the one I have highlighted.
Yeah, that's fine. Once draft starts, I think 3-2-1-1 is kind of weird, and I think we might have ran into it once.
So
it says it's prohibited, but then it says look at 4-2. So I don't think it should say. We should combine those two sentences. Once draft starts, role swaps are prohibited unless you do 4.2 or whatever. Because if you read both sentences separately, it's contradictory.
Yeah.
Once draft starts, role swaps are prohibited.
I think we could just get rid of it, right? And just leave it at the role swaps.
Once draft starts. Well, you can still...
The Sammy 2-slap rule?
Role swap. Top and mid, which is 4.2, right?
That's a lane swap.
No? Oh.
Oh, yeah.
That's role swap.
You're right.
So do we even need... 3, 2, 1,
Really,
1.
the only role swaps are because if you swap top and mid, you're basically saying they're swapping lanes, right?
You
Really, it
could say
comes
either
down
way.
to
Yeah, roll swap or lane
really,
swap,
really, it comes down to bottom and support.
which we're
Most
not
people,
allowing anymore.
yeah. So
Hmm.
we delete this, and then we basically just keep in that role swaps aren't allowed, lane swaps are allowed. Lane swap can be top and mid. It could be the bottom lane duo going top, the top laner going bot.
Okay. Well, my actual question: what? 3, 2, 1, 1. Is it a necessary rule since we already have the roster reporting and we have the rule
Three,
about
two,
actual role
one,
swaps?
one. No, not if we get rid of the
I don't think
bot
we
and
need
support.
that at all.
Yeah.
Okay. 1.5.2 will not be used. Okay. 3.4. Teams are allowed the use of one.
3 ports 4 is fine. E subs are fine. I think the rules that we
Shouldn't have
had.
changed anything, right?
No.
I thought I had read it again. I feel like every time I read it, I feel like it's wrong even after we change it, but maybe I just need 3.4.5. All 3 first phase bans. That's fine. It's 3, 4, 5, 1 then. The E sub is to be used during games 2, 3, 4, 5. So this one would be 3, 4, and or 5. Opposing team will be granted extra bans up to the number of bans that should have been lost.
We have to change it now.
I
Just for
removed game 2. So basically,
yeah, 3, 4, and 5.
they use an E sub game 3. They only
You're
get
supposed to lose
3
3 bans.
bans. Or is this one fine? Or should I take out 3
It should
also?
just be 4 and 5.
I think I left it in there because playoffs. Your E sub would be minus 5 bans.
Oh, because it's a playoff thing.
And so since you only have 3 bans, you can't lose 5, so you give the other team 2.
Yeah, you give the other team 2. So yeah, 3, 4, and
Opposing
5
team will be
makes sense.
granted extra bans up to the number of bans. Extra bans. I don't know. I don't know if that's clear enough, but I'll know how to enforce it.
Mhm.
Example, in game 3 draft, the opposing team will be granted 2.
Yeah.
In game 3 draft, the opposing team will be granted 2 extra bans, as the team using the E-sub would have negative 2 bans total. Somewhat clear enough?
Yeah. Spectators are allowed. Draft. I'm gonna be in draft full. Once again, I know some people don't like it. I like the way it looks. There are some others pitched to me. I took a look at them. They're kind of ugly. Uh,
I don't know. I've
I mean,
used a bunch, and I still think Draftful is the best
yeah.
and most consistent.
Role swaps. We're going to take out Sammy. This one between bottom and support. Nobody wanted it.
I mean, I'm not
So
gonna
the
say that, but
the
it wasn't
majority
the.
did not want it.
Yeah, it was overwhelming.
I'm not going to add a rule denoting anything about Senna. Pro Play doesn't do that. It is pretty clear that when Senna is locked, they can either go fasting Senna or farming Senna. And just because you're a support doesn't mean you can't farm.
Well, so then how are we defining support?
What do you mean?
I don't know.
I'm just saying, in the case that Senna is locked, it doesn't matter who plays the Senna.
But it wouldn't matter if your AD carry
plays a Tom Kench. No.
plays.
Then that's just ADC Tom Kench and support Senna.
Are we saying that your AD carry can buy the support item and your support can farm?
Yeah.
Well, then why did we take out role swap of support AD carry?
For shit.
You just
Because
you
it's
just
Senna.
explained it that it's allowed. I personally don't care about the Senate. I don't. My vote is to leave what we have right now written. And if your lineup is AD carry, you're not taking the support item. If your lineup is support, you are taking the support item.
The problem with that is if you are playing AD carry and you're playing Senna and you want to go fasting Senna, you have to take the support item.
You should have lined up a support. I don't know what to tell you, buddy. Because I get you're saying, well, you're going fasting Senna, so you have to. My argument is that's one way to title it or define it. I would define it as you're playing support Senna. You're playing support Senna. You can call it fasting Senna. You're playing support Senna. Yeah. So then you're role swapping. So I don't know. I play support, and this is how I feel about it. That you shouldn't be able to do that because, or there's just like no clear way to do it, or we can just say you can only swap top and mid, unless it's support, unless it's Senna, is the only exception. I just feel like that's so weird because you can technically do it with other champions. It's like, why can I do it with Senna and not other champions that have some sort of stacking something? My Sinja or my whatever else. As long as it's clear, the intent of us changing it is people didn't like you being able to lie.
Yeah.
Like it's for scouting purposes. And so if we take out 4222 or change it to where exception is if the AD carry lined up in the AD carry role takes Senna, they are allowed to role swap, essentially. So
I just think most people don't consider that a role swap. You're just playing AD carry Senna, but it's fasting.
Okay. I think that's some BS, but that's a way to word it. But that's the long version of saying you're playing support Senna.
A swap between the bottom and support players when using Senna. Just do that.
Sure. Swap between bottom and support player. Sure, good enough. Did we change anything up here that needs to change with that or no?
I think so.
Well, because you're still going to line up in the positional order as you reported it. Okay. Good enough. Whatever.
Creating champions fine. New and rework champions is fine. We never really ran into that issue. I think the new one will be released after split one's over. In-game issues I think are fine.
All 5 teams, all 5 players must be in the team assigned Discord channel. At the game's start time. At game 1's start time. I think you can have more people in there during the 2v2. I think that's fine.
Okay.
and throughout the entirety of the match. Substitute players, coaches, and team captains. Substitute players, coaches, team captains. Anyone shown on the roster sheet, maybe in the Discord voice channels during the draft and load-in screen. Should it be there? It should be. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. During the 2v2 game drafts and loading screens. Cool. Sounds good.
Outside influence is fine. Pauses is fine. Disconnections is fine. Champion bugs is fine. We did have that one instance of the game being remade because the jungler was under the assumption the game would give him smite. I mean, I'm of the opinion that it should just be remade because it is a simple mistake. Yeah, it takes more time. I get the frustration though.
I'm
Some
of the
people are talking
opposite.
about-
I'm of the opposite feeling.
Okay.
Of
You don't take
you're
smite,
you're
then
playing in a competitive league.
you're SOL.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe that's my bias. That's my player and team captain feeling. But from admin standpoint, to essentially you're most likely going to lose that game.
They're gonna lose.
You're most likely going to lose that game and waste 30 minutes of your time, if that happens. So maybe it's if a game loads in and you pause the game within, I don't know, 30 seconds, you are able to remake. Just don't want an abuse of that rule. I guess it would just be if it happens, like more than once, then it's obviously like sucks to suck. So, so I don't. Do we need to add? And it's not champion, but I guess it's not champion, but in the event of a player.
It wouldn't even be a bug though. It's just them forgetting the summoner spell.
Do we have a remakes thing? Maybe we could add like 6.3 in-game conduct, maybe. I think we should add it somewhere, basically.
At their SOL if they forget it, or what?
No, that just feels real bad.
Yeah.
Like from a player standpoint, like the opponent and whatnot, it's like you should have been paying attention. It's on you. You made the mistake, so live with it. But then, like in the grand scheme of things, you lose an entire game. I don't know. I like people being punished for just like not paying attention. Like I don't know, lock in and like pay attention and take it serious. But also that's like almost an extreme like punishment.
Yeah. And it could be ban loss in game 2. I mean, what happens if it happens in game 3? I just feel like
If it happens,
go down a rabbit hole.
I think if it happens once, I think the first time it happens in the split,
it's whatever. But
then the second
if it's a
time,
repeated
it's
issue, then
fool me once, fool me twice type thing.
Mm-hmm.
The kind of issue with that is you're gonna be probably playing against different teams, and so
how would they know?
When they did it, like when they did it against my team, we had a remake, but when they played against the other team in week 3, that team got a free win. Like, oh, that's not fair.
All right, I
Perfect.
mean, let's just make it so that
no remakes unless the other team agrees.
Yeah, if you forget smite, that's on you.
I don't. It's. I mean, it's literally on you. You had so much time. Just like pay attention.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the times, probably the other team will just like remake because you probably just don't want the free win. It's like it sucks, but it's only like maybe what an extra 8 minutes to remake the game. I don't know.
I'm okay with it. We'll see how it
Do we need
goes.
to
But
put that in there somewhere? It's not even like a rule. It's like an opposite of a rule. It's
we'll
a
add it. I'll find a place to add it.
absence of a rule.
I'm gonna go back through it. I just want to
Okay.
make sure we get through this whole thing while people are here.
Yep,
But a
so
lot of everything after this, so we did run into the issue of the in-game conduct use of all chat emotes. They are allowed. If you don't like it, you could tell the other team to stop doing it, but they are not
you
obligated
can
to
also get a
stop doing
screenshot if you do that. I don't know. Yeah, it's in the rule. It's one of my favorite rules, to be honest.
it.
Because it's just like I don't know. It's just like
That's the game everybody
mute it.
plays.
It's just like mute it. I don't
Yeah.
know.
If you
It's
don't like all chat, just mute it.
you can do it in solo queue
If
and whatever else. So
if they're if you can't communicate because everybody on one team is muting all chat, then use Discord for appropriate communication, like during a pause.
yeah,
Which is what we have in
annoying,
there.
but yeah. Can
Same thing
you?
with
Well, you
emote.
can mute emotes, right? Like just
Yeah, you can
emotes,
mute
I think.
everything.
I know, but can you
You can mute
specify? Can you mute everything except
what?
for chat?
You could mute everything except for chat
Okay, that's
if
most
you
people
wanted
get
to.
annoyed by the spam of like mastery and emotes. I think
Yeah.
more so than
So
off
you
chat.
can just turn those off specifically and keep chat up.
Or you can just win, and they probably won't do it. I don't know. Either one.
uh Time between matches, just want to reiterate, everyone should be aware. This is what happens if I'm casting a game and I'm getting a message about it. I kindly direct you to the rulebook. Um,
Yeah. So essentially, after you hit 10 minutes, you lose 3 bins. After you lose 15, 5 bins, and then 20.
forfeiting the game. But
I could see the little bit of. You just have to piece these two parts together. That's just the best way to word it.
oh
You,
yeah,
you
10,
get 5
15, and 20.
minutes because you get 5
Then you get
minutes
an
of free
additional
time.
5.
Yeah.
So,
Dun, dun. I'm gonna have to update this one.
match reporting. Yep, gonna have to update that. Streams we're gonna have to update,
It's gonna
but
be
it doesn't
all
really.
draft spectator links. I still need the game codes. I don't need raw files.
Unless I ask you specifically for content, that'll be.
And I think, I mean, you could do that, yeah. You could also, like, just get on League and pull it yourself
Yeah, should be able to.
if needed.
Unless I have to, yeah.
Screenshot of match
We'll
result
have to update the
as
streams. No shows. Didn't really have any issues with that, which is good. Content expectations. I do want to put a little bit of a warning with more teams. Means there's probably gonna be more banter. We're policing it about as much as we want to, or as much as we feel like we need to.
I'd say there's probably been, like, 5 to probably like less than 10 things that I've had to delete, get rid of, or whatnot.
There, if it becomes an issue with more teams, there is the option that we shut down banter during sleeping hours because we can't police something that we can't see when our eyes are closed.
Yeah, I could do that, or I could just, like, every time I go to sleep, I just mute that one person to where they can't type. Like, one person's gonna ruin it for everybody, type thing. But we'll see.
Yeah. So, but that's just something to keep our eyes on. Just letting everybody know.
I can take out.
We want to keep the banter up, but
It's
we
not
might have to put some.
live streamed on
solution on
Sunday.
Harassment. I don't think anybody.
I don't think I need the
experienced
spoilers
before.
stuff anymore. I don't
You don't need the spoiler stuff anymore.
I don't need this whole 7.2.3.
And then transactions, I just went through the whole thing. Transactions, there might be a price point change. We'll see.
Hold on, let me get there real quick. Jeez. Why you gotta hurry? You ain't got nothing to do.
I gotta go eat. I got stuff to do.
You got nothing to do.
We've been doing this for freaking
2 hours.
2.5 hours.
If you think about it, you get the time back next week because we're only streaming 2 matches.
True.
If you gotta go, you gotta go, man. I'm
If I
trying to
gotta
get
go,
this
I
done.
gotta
I don't
go,
want to
man.
get 80% of it. I mean, we're almost at the end.
I'm already planning on going back and proofreading and updating some language
Yeah,
stuff.
but I want to make sure we do it once
But
over. Hey, you do what you gotta do, man. You gotta go heat up your ramen noodles. You gotta heat up your ramen noodles.
it's true.
Uh,
Well, as it for me, if CB's gonna stay online, he can close it out for once.
sure. I'm just chilling.
Basically, the rulebook mostly gonna stay the same. There are gonna be some formatting issues. You're no longer gonna be able to swap between support and ADC unless you're playing Senna. Those are the 2 big ones. Um, I think pretty much else our rulebook mostly covered everything. We're a little bit more transparent with the point adjustments based off of win rate. Read the rulebook.
We
It'll
can
be
go through the
attached
feedback
during the title.
stuff, like the type in the box feedback stuff, later to see if we need to add anything. I think we touched on everything that was.
Pressing.
Yep, sure. Wait. I mean, we didn't even. I don't know, man. You in a hurry, but let me scoot down here. I'll come back up to this. Since you just, you're so
I
hungry.
just skimmed through everything.
Yeah, I don't believe you. Yeah, you skimmed through it. You didn't say anything about 8 that needs to be updated, so I can highlight it. So you skimmed through it for fun.
What do you mean? I
9.1.1 needs
did.
to be
I said
updated.
streams are gonna have to change. Everything that is in regards to every game being streamed is gonna have to change. But that's kind of self-explanatory. We don't need these good people to sit here and listen to us talk about it.
Yeah, that's why this wasn't intended to be an official type stream. It's just us talking. What is going on? Am I spelling correctly? Oh, probably should use a different word. I don't know. Due to lack of players. Oh, yeah. No, I wanted to talk about I think all of this stuff stays the same. I mean, we don't have to talk about it if you don't want to.
What?
How we're going to change Rule 11? Or like the
price point?
Yeah,
Or what?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is a you thing. Are we changing it?
Okay.
We were discussing what, 100? 50-50? So it'd really only be a $50.
The reason I don't think so for this split to do any big change, like maybe tweak it a little bit, is because while we are going to go up in teams, most likely the season length isn't going to change outside of maybe one more week, just because we're trying to kind of stay in between 4th of July and Labor Day to avoid those holidays and having bye weeks. And so
to keep the price the same,
I don't think any crazy, I would be down to maybe say keep the 60, like keep it at 60 to where like it's kind of your like initial goes out of your account type thing, but could change it to like 35 goes to the entry and 25 for the FF. Don't know how you feel about that.
It's fine.
Fairly similar-ish to what we pretty much have. It just throws a little bit more into the prize pool. And then just like the overall deposit stays the same. So I feel decent about that.
I agree.
So just a minor change as we're going to have more teams and whatnot. We've ironed out some kind of bugs and whatnot as we've gotten through split 1. And yeah, so, okay. Feels good. The prize, I'll put like an asterisk next to it, or whatever, because this will
It'll
change.
change based on how many teams we have.
Yeah, but same like percentages and whatnot.
Yep.
Same FF. Nobody FF'd this split, so
Yeah, pay some people back here in a second.
I have done one. I mean, I don't care. I'm down to be transparent. I've reimbursed one team, the 6th seed team. I did not do the 5th seed team yet. In the crazy instance that like a team drops out, like this week,
The
I don't know.
playoffs.
Yeah, like a team that's in playoffs is like, we all quit.
We can't play. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Now, obviously, that'd probably just like chaos for pulling a team in from that did make the
Yeah.
playoffs. But realistically, probably none of that would happen. But that's the reason. 5th seed team that you haven't seen it yet, but you'll get it in the next week or two.
Basically, when your
And then
season is
everyone else.
over. Yeah.
I'm just
When your
I'm putting an
season is
asterisk
over.
of saying like your season is most likely over, but not yet. So okay, cool, good enough for transparent. We know
Good
this
enough
isn't
for government work.
the most fun thing to watch. Wasn't really the intent of it. It was just to say, hey, if you want to be involved and kind of see what we're doing, we're trying to be as transparent as possible. So
And maybe more incentive after split 2 for people to do the feedback form, because we only got the opinions of 18 people. So
yeah, more people have filled out the MVP voting. It's like almost up to like 25 or something like that.
I guess more people care about MVP than they
I
do
care about the
High League
awards.
Runs.
Screw the
Either way,
rules.
yeah. Either way,
Cool.
we're probably gonna do this probably after the end of every split. Hopefully, it won't have to be like major changes between them. That'll mostly just be based off feedback. Like after split 2, if there is the instance that everybody hates the new drafting format, they think it's those 2 extra champions on each side is too much, then we'll we'll send feedback out and change it or whatever. But it's basically based off of feedback with some things that we notice or are aware of. So yeah.
Cool. Good enough.
Good enough for me. Alrighty. I'm heading out. If you're gonna keep doing that on the
I'm
stream,
done.
then
I'm done. Do
okay.
it. Do the
I was
work.
like, I don't want to. All right, that's been it then. Next time you guys see us live, it'll be on Sunday for Rivals Run Back. I got Righteous Reflections coming up tomorrow. Sneak peek. It's basically going to be looking about how these playoff matchups are on paper. What teams do better than their opponents, or vice versa. So, if you're curious about an in-depth look about that, you'll get that tomorrow.
Okay.
Alrighty. Y'all have a good night. Bye.